To all the geeks and nerds out there, welcome back to another episode of Simply Minecraft. This is a series where each episode we take a look at one aspect of the game and try and make it as easy and as simple as we can. Now today we are looking at this stuff, concrete powder, and how to turn it into concrete. Now there are various ways to do that. I'll walk you through those, and we've got two designs for some machines that can help you to do that. So first of all, we've got one down there which is super simple and good for most players, and it produces concrete at a reasonable rate. But up here we have a souped up version, still relatively straightforward to build, but will produce concrete over twice as fast and much easier to AFK as well. So if you want to create some more concrete and do it really easily, then stick around. So here we are, and I've got some light blue concrete powder in my inventory. Now obviously this series is designed for beginners, so if you're not sure how to craft that, you just go to a crafting table like this, and you need to have some gravel, some sand, and some kind of dye of your choice. You'll get the button up here in the crafting book, and this is the crafting recipe for concrete powder, and you just swap out the dye here for whatever color you want. So once you've crafted up your concrete powder, you just place it into some water like that, and then you can mine it up with your pick and collect the concrete like that. So a lot of time what you can do in the early game is get your concrete powder into your offhand like that, get your pick in your other hand, stand in some water, and then hold down both buttons at the same time, both buttons on your mouse, and you'll constantly be placing and breaking concrete at the same time. And that's pretty straightforward. Then it flies everywhere, you have to go and pick it up, but that's a nice easy way. There's one over there as well, I missed one. So that's a nice easy way to get concrete in the early game. Now when you get to a stage where you want to craft multiple stacks, of course then you need to swap out stacks out of your offhand, and then it gets a bit tedious. So this is where these machines come into play. So let's look at this one first. This is the super simple one to build. Let's look at it working, and then I'll show you step by step how to build it. So let's see this thing in action. We've got some stairs we can come up, and we're going to be placing our concrete powder against anywhere on this wood block right here, against this side of this wooden stair. Now if you can stand on top of this block somewhere, that's just to make sure you don't accidentally place blocks on this block. We want to make sure we're always placing our concrete powder on top of this hopper right here. What's going to happen is every time we place some concrete powder, this observer will notice that it will power this block behind it, which then powers this dropper, and this dropper is filled with more concrete powder. There's also a hopper behind it which is being fed by this double chest, and of course you could have more storage here. So this will just refill your inventory of concrete powder as you place more and more. And of course underneath we have some hoppers here which feed into these chests for the finished concrete. So what you do here is just kind of stand at least roughly on top of this block a little bit, and then hold down both mouse buttons and aim at somewhere on that stair. And you can see as I place blocks and break them, they're getting collected by the hoppers automatically, and every time I break one I'm getting a new piece of concrete powder given to me. So I'm never going to run out. I'm going to just stand here AFK, for as long as we need. The only thing to be careful of here is that your pick is going to take durability, and if you stay here long enough, your pick will break. So make sure you manage that. But that's one downfall here. And now also you can see how fast I'm breaking this. I'm breaking this pretty fast. That's because I've got my netherite pick, and it's got efficiency 5 on it. This will still work for any kind of pick. It just means that if you have a lower pick in terms of the enchantments or the material your pick is made of, it will just be a bit slower, but this works just fine. And as you can see here, we can do this for as long as we like. Let's just stop there, and if we look in these chests, you can see I've been practicing earlier on, doing a bit of testing, and here is all the concrete coming into these chests. Now in terms of rates, if you're using the same pick that I'm using here, a netherite pick with efficiency 5, you'll get around 8,600 concrete per hour. I didn't test this for too long, about 15 minutes, and that's the kind of rough average that I was getting for that tool. So obviously if you use a lower tool, if you build this early on in the game before you've got netherite, if you're just using your diamond pick or even an iron pick, it will still work. It will just be a bit slower. Now that's how you use it and roughly how it works. So let's do a block by block tutorial and show you how to build it. And here is the material list for this super simple concrete maker. These are polished andesite at the top. That's just any solid block. I'm using polished andesite here just because it's easier to see on the build. But then you've got some chests, some hoppers, a few stairs, a dropper, an observer, any kind of slab will do here, and a bucket of water. Once you've got all that stuff together, we can build this up. Once you've got your items together and you've found a spot to build, first of all, place down a few double chests. So we've got 2 double chests, one above the other, just like that. And then place some hoppers pointing into those double chests. And on this top hopper right here, place another hopper pointing into that one, just like that. So if you want to have some more storage, obviously you can have some more chests that go down and some more hoppers that lead into them. You can expand that underneath just like you normally would. Next, get yourself a temporary block and place it on top of this this hopper right here, where we'll be removing that shortly. Then get yourself a wooden stair and place it upside down against that temporary block, just like that. That allows us to open up this chest underneath, and also gives us a wood to mine against. And that's, we're using wood here. That's because that is not easily broken by a pick, so it's very useful for this case. Then get your observer and point it at that temporary block, just like that. Next, take one of your solid blocks and place it behind the observer, just like that. And then get your dropper and place it next to that solid block, just like that. Then get a hopper, come around the back of your dropper right here, place it here. Then get some more double chests and place them on top of this hopper to feed into it. And that's where you're going to put your concrete powder, so it goes into the dropper to feed it to you as you're placing your blocks. Next, get a couple of your solid building blocks and place them one against this hopper here, one against this one here, and then get yourself some stairs to lead up to the place where you're going to be mining, just like that. Then put another temporary block on top of the stair here, and then get yourself a slab. Any slab will do. I'll just grab one right here. This one will do. We'll place that against that temporary block, and then we can remove that temporary block once that's done. Next, come around to the back and get yourself some solid blocks, and you can place one next to the observer here, next to the stair just here, and then just on the ground here next to this hopper, place one just like that. Then we're going to place a temporary block on top of this block, so it's next to this hopper, and then place some solid blocks all the way around that temporary block, and then you can remove it once you're done. Then get yourself your water and place it on top of the hopper just here, so it flows down into here, and then we can come around the front again and remove this temporary block, and our water should stay in place. Once you've done that, you're ready to give it a test. So come up here and place the concrete powder of your choice into the dropper, also into the hopper behind it, and into the double chest if you've got that much. Now, one thing to note here, I'd only do one color at a time. If you mix up some different colors in here, what will happen is you'll end up with different colors in this dropper, and this feeds it to you randomly. So you might end up with different colors in your inventory rather than just the one that you're trying to do. So yeah, only do one color at a time. And then when you're here, get a handful of concrete powder blocks, put it in your offhand, grab your pick of choice, and then just hold down both mouse buttons together, pointing anywhere at this wood over here, and then just wait for all of your concrete to get made. So there we have it, a super simple concrete maker that's good for the early game. The slab on top, I should have said, is there to make sure you don't accidentally place concrete powder on top of the one that you're placing. And yeah, this is pretty good. Now, as I said before, the downside of this is that your pick will lose durability over time, and the speed of this is dependent on the tool that you use. But if you've got a lot of concrete you want to make and you don't want to worry about your tool being broken, then we've got another machine up here that will produce concrete at a much faster rate. So this will produce concrete at about 17,200 blocks per hour. That is really cool. And it doesn't use your pick, so you don't have to worry about your pick breaking and losing your valuable netherite. All right, so let's get into this and I'll show you how it works. So here I am switching on the lever to activate this machine, and you'll see that I'm placing blocks as fast as possible just here, and they're being pushed along by a piston at super high speed, and I'm being given some more concrete powder so I never run out. And then what happens is the concrete gets pushed along till it gets to this kind of piston array where all of the concrete is pushed downwards, and then we have this TNT duplicator that dupes TNT. It falls down and blows up the concrete for us. And with TNT now, any blocks that it blows up, there's 100% chance of it all dropping, so we don't lose any items. This concrete factory is in fact 100% lossless, and it is super easy to build. All the items come through the water streams at the top and into this water stream underneath, and into our storage chest here. You need to have 2 hoppers there because there are too many items for one hopper, so you need to make sure you have 2 hoppers to pick up all the items at least. And there you can see it's pretty straightforward. So there's a bit more effort to build this thing, but if you do have a lot of concrete, then it's really easy to build and well worth it. So here it is. This is our concrete factory. So I think before we do the block by block tutorial, I'll give you a quick tour of each of the different components, because as we discussed last week and we showed a few components there, so a few redstone components, this is basically a bunch of different components put together to do something interesting, and that is the majority of redstone. So what we'll do is let's have a look at this thing, and I'll try and explain each kind of component before we build it up in the block by block tutorial. So first of all, let's start here. This is the on and off switch. So flipping this switch will power this block and power this piston behind it. That then will push this observer to face this one. Now, when you have 2 observers facing each other, that will give you a clock, and I can demonstrate that right here. So if I get myself a few observers just like that, let's get rid of that. And if I place this observer facing this one, you'll see that it blinks just like that. Now, also when you push an observer with a piston to create a clock, it actually creates a faster clock, faster than this one that I've placed manually. So that's our first component there, an observer clock. So when that's working, it's powering this block right here, which in turn powers the dropper, which is here, and that dropper will give us all of the concrete powder as we place in blocks right here. Now that is fed by, in fact, 2 hoppers, one pointing here and one pointing into it here. That's because one hopper is not fast enough to keep up, so we need to feed this from two hoppers to keep up. And then we have our chest up here. This has got some more concrete powder, and so those two, that chest has these 2 hoppers coming out of it, which feed into here. Now, if you want to have more storage here for more concrete powder, you need to have two hoppers feeding into this one, and then put more chests here like that, and then have more hoppers going into this one. So depending on how much stuff you have, you'll have to have 2 hoppers feeding in all the way down. When we flip the start lever up here, the other thing that happens is it powers this block, as we said before, but that also powers this redstone dust, which in turn powers this whole line of redstone all the way around here, which then powers this block here. That will then depower this torch, which then enables this clock over here, and this is a hopper clock, or a style of hopper clock at least. Now here we have, basically if I look from underneath, we just have basically a circle of hoppers pointed into each other that gives us this circuit, and then one of these hoppers, which is this one right here, this has got one item in it. That could be any item. I've chosen Nether Star just to flex, of course, but you can have any item, any one item in it. Now, when this torch is on, this hopper is locked, and so this item stays here. As soon as that torch is depowered, that will release the item, and it will start going round and round these hoppers, and it will keep going round until this torch is enabled again. And that's when you flip the lever to turn the farm off. So what happens here is we have this comparator that is looking at this hopper right here. So every time the item comes through here, this will get a signal, and that gives us our constant clock, and this then powers this redstone. It only gives it a signal strength of 1, so now we need to have a repeater here to give us a full signal strength of 15 from here. So this redstone power follows all the way up here. So first of all goes into here, and this is a whole bunch of repeaters here to give us a nice long delay, and that will eventually open up this fence gate. We'll come back to that in a second. But as that's happening, the redstone also powers this line all the way up here and directly powers this piston here, which goes into this shenanigans over here, which is basically a TNT duper that will dupe the TNT just in here. And when it does that, it will then rest on top of this redstone, rest on top of this gate, should I say, sorry. And when this delayed signal comes in, it will release it, and that will open and then drop the TNT. And we do it there, we hold it there for some time, just so it drops at the right height, which is around here, to blow up as many of these blocks as we can. And when those blocks are broken, of course, they fall down into the water streams over there. But let's go up there and talk about how the concrete gets there. And so to use this farm, all you need to do is have some of the concrete powder in your inventory in any of your slots. And then it needs to be just one color, just like our other one. Just only use one color at a time. And all you've got to do is stand here. And so the items that come out of this dropper, you'll be able to pick up. And you just got to place them on top of this here. So don't aim here or aim at the piston. Don't do that. Only aim on this block right here. And when you do that, it gets pushed along. And if I hold my mouse down, it gets pushed along super quickly. Now, how does that work? Well, whenever you place a block underneath a note block, that in fact gives it a state update. And that is because depending on what block is underneath a note block, that will change its instrument. And so we have this observer looking at this note block. So that detects when a block gets placed. That will power this block here, which then quasi-connectivity, we spoke about that last time. That will power this piston diagonally. And we need this note block over here to update the piston so it knows there's something to do. And so then it will push the blocks that way. And that will do it super quick, just as quick as a player can place blocks. So that's as fast as you can actually do it. So then the blocks get pushed all the way over there, and as the concrete powder gets pushed along, it passes this water right here, so it turns into concrete when it gets to this point. It then goes along over here, and then we have furnaces here, each with a stack of items, any items, and that's the same for all of these furnaces with a comparator. That gives us a signal strength of 5, so the signal will then go through this concrete, and then the power will then go through the redstone behind, all the way up to here, and then power this block, which also powers this piston, and also that piston there diagonally, like we saw before. So that means that the pistons then push down if they can, and they do that super quickly. If we get to a point where we have reached the push limit, so if we get down to where we are here, which is the 12 block limit, because pistons can only push 12 blocks, then the concrete then goes along to the next slice and goes down, and then the next slice. But we won't end up going too far, because by the time that happens, the TNT has fallen and exploded and broken all of these blocks. So that is super cool, and that's how that works. Of course, down here then it's quite straightforward. We have a relatively small small trough here, and all the items will fall into here. All the water here, water sources, will push the items into the center. We have some fence gates here to block the water, so the items can fall down underneath. They go into this water stream just here and then flow along into the collection system over here. Now you just need to have 2 hoppers here. We spoke about that earlier. Because this farm produces over 17,000 concrete per hour, you need to have 2 hoppers because one hopper can only support and can transfer 9,000 items per hour. So we need to have 2 of those pointing into a chest, and then just like we had before with the input. If you want to have multiple chests here, you just need to make sure you double up the hoppers for each line all the way down, and you can have as many hoppers and chests here as you like for your storage, depending on how much concrete you're making. And then to finish off, just a few minor details for some people that may ask. So first of all, we've got we're using some obsidian here. That's because that's got a high blast resistance, and we don't want these blocks breaking because that can happen because when the TNT drops, it's at a height where some of these blocks can be broken. So just to make sure, we use obsidian here to make sure that doesn't get destroyed. Over here, we have composters on top of the hoppers. That is to reduce lag. Now, I might talk about that in a bit more detail in another episode, but for the moment, they're only there to reduce lag and not much else. The other thing here is we're using glass, and that means that we can have this redstone going up in this kind of stair step fashion and not get cut off. If you use solid blocks here, then that will cut the redstone line and it won't transfer up. So you can also use slabs here, top slabs, or you can use glass. I prefer glass, just looks a bit cooler. And over here at the start, I've used glass to build this here only because I think it's quite cool to be able to look down and see what's going on, but you can use any blocks here at this part of the build. All right, so let's get into the block by block tutorial, but first the material list. And here is that material list. So here again, just like always, you can interchange a lot of these blocks. So the white concrete blocks at the top there, that's any solid block. We've got glass here, that's any glass block. And you can kind of see the kind of general theme as we go down. Now there's quite a few different items here, but in total, there isn't too many items. You only need 388 items in total. So not too bad for this kind of build. Now I'll just scroll down this slowly. You can pause the video if you want to get a better look at the numbers. I'll also put this in the description underneath. So if you want to get a nice list together, for all of your collection needs, then you can do that. Let's start off at the bottom with our storage system. So here we just need to have 2 hoppers pointing into a double chest, and then just have as many of those as you like depending on your storage needs. Here I've got 4 double chests with double hoppers pointing into each one, as you can see if I kind of scoot around. So yeah, just add as many of those as you need. And then on the top hopper back here, let's add 5 blocks. So I'm using glass here just so I like to see the items. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then place a block up like that. And then on top of the chests here, place down another 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same on the other side, just over here. So place a temporary block if you need to over here to give you that kind of water stream, just like that. And then place a block at the end to stop any water going along. Then place 2 blocks on top. So 1 there and 1 there. And then we can get a water bucket and place your water right here. Now this is where the items are going to fall in, just here. So now we need to do the collection trough above. Next, come up to the top and place a block next to the glass over here, and now come out 4 blocks on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Same on the other side, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives us 9 blocks along here. And now extend this out to make a square, which is 9 by 9. So we've got 1 here already. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then join all of this up and then fill all of this in. Once you've got your 9 by 9 square, now come in and find the center point, which is this one right here, and place a gate just on top of it, and then break the block underneath it. Then you can open this gate up, and then you can come around to the sides, get more solid blocks, and basically place a 1 wide, 1 high wall all the way around, just like this. Once you've got your 9 by 9 with the 1 high wall all the way around it, just get your water bucket and then go into each of the corners and place a water source in each of the 4 corners, just like this. Now, as I was building this up just now, and I realised that this was a simpler way to do it from what we've done over there, where we've got the water a little bit higher. So yeah, this is slightly different, but yeah, actually a bit simpler. So that is all you need, to collect all the items underneath. Next, come around to this side and then find the center block here, which is the one that lines up with the gate, and then place 16 temporary blocks on top of this block here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They're temporary blocks. We can get rid of those later on, and then place a glass block on top of that. Then place 2 more blocks in this direction, just like this, and then 1 on this side, just like that. Then place another 4 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should look something like that. And these temporary blocks here, we can get rid of all the way down. Here we have the glass platform above our water collection, and if we come around to the back around this side and then place a solid block here just like that, that's the block we're going to be placing our concrete powder on top of. Then get yourself some glass blocks and place 3 just like this, and then get another solid block, come around this side and place it just here just like that. Then we can add the mechanism to push the concrete along. So to do that, you need to place a temporary block on top of this and then a note block on top of that. Then you can get rid of your temporary block. Then you can place an observer facing the note block, then a solid block behind it. Then underneath of that, place another note block, and then get yourself a piston and place it next to there. So that is all we need to push the items along. Then get yourself some more blocks, place a temporary block on top of this one, and then add 4 blocks all the way around this, just like that, and then get rid of your temporary block in the center. Then get yourself some water and place it just here. Now this block here will be moved eventually. When we start putting our concrete powder here, it will start pushing it along, and this will make its way into the system. But yeah, any block there is just fine. Next, we work on the system that's going to feed us the concrete. So come over to here and place yourself a temporary block on this block right here, and then place a dropper on top of it facing outwards like that. Then get yourself your hoppers, place 1 on the side, 1 on the top, and then 1 feeding into this hopper just like that. Then get yourself a chest and place a double chest on top of these 2 hoppers just like that. Now if you want to have more concrete powder coming in, then just add some more chests above with double hoppers feeding into it, as we saw earlier on. Then get yourself a glass block and place it next to this hopper just there, and then get yourself a solid block, come around here, place 1 behind the glass block and 1 behind the dropper just like that. Then come over to this side, get yourself some more glass, place 1 here and 1 here. That's just to make sure that any items that get spat out by the dropper stay over there for us to collect and don't go shooting out. Then get yourself your sticky piston, come over to here and place it just here like that. Then get yourself your observer, come over here and face it outwards like that. So the red dot is on this side. So when it gets pushed over, it will be against here. Then you can get yourself a temporary block here, another observer, place it there, and then get rid of your temporary block. So when the piston gets moved across, it'll create your observer clock over here. Next, get yourself a lever and place it on this solid block here. That will be your on and off switch for the whole farm. Next, we'll connect our on and off switch to the rest of the farm. So come underneath this block, place a temporary block and then 1 more under that, and then get rid of your temporary block. And now we need a total of 5 blocks along here. So we've got 1 already. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then come down 1 block diagonally like that, and then come down a second block diagonally like that, and then place 2 blocks next to it, 1, 2, and then place a redstone torch at the end of that line just there. Then get yourself some redstone dust and place redstone dust along all of these blocks all the way along till you get to underneath our switch right here. After that, we can add our clock for the TNT system. So come next to your redstone torch and place a temporary block here. Then get yourself your hoppers and place 4 into this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then place 1 pointing into this one, and then place another 5 hoppers coming this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a total of 5 altogether. Then you can get rid of this block here and then place your last hopper going here. Now I've got a texture pack here so you can see how all of the hoppers are pointing. So you can see here it just creates one big loop all the way around. Then come into this hopper right here and place 1 item. That should stay there because the torch here is locking it, and so it won't move on. Then get yourself some composters and place a composter on all of these hoppers just here to reduce some lag. Once you've done that, come around to this side of the hoppers and the second one from the end, so this one right here, place a block underneath it just like that diagonally down and get rid of that temporary block. Then you can get yourself a comparator and place it outwards like that so that can read the contents of this hopper right here. Then get yourself some more blocks, so a solid block next to that. In fact, make it 3 solid blocks along here. Then put a glass block 1 up next to that one just like that. Then get yourself redstone dust here, here and here, and a repeater just in here. Next, get a glass block and place it on top of this redstone dust. Then get yourself some other blocks and place 5 along here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then some obsidian. You need 4 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then get yourself 2 redstone dust, 1 on this glass, 1 next to it. And then get repeaters and place them on all of these blocks all the way along to the end. And then make sure they're all on the maximum setting all the way along, just like this. Then once you've done that, which I'll do super quickly, come over to here and then get yourself a fence gate, any type will do, and place it next to this repeater just like that. Next, we'll get the redstone line going up to the TNT duper. So first of all, place a glass on top of this redstone here and another glass on top of this redstone. Then get yourself a solid block next to this one and then have another one diagonally up just like that. So you should have that kind of shape. Then come up diagonally again and place 4 blocks in total. So we've got 1 here, 2, 3, 4. So you should have that kind of shape, and then get some redstone dust and place this all the way along on all of these blocks we've just placed so it connects up with the redstone we already have. Next up, let's build the TNT duper. So come over to the last repeater here and place a wall on top of that. Then get yourself a gate, place it next to the wall and open the gate. Then you can get your TNT, place it on top of the gate here, and then get yourself another wall and place it on top of the TNT. Then get yourself some slime blocks, place 2 next to it, just like that, and then another one on top, so you get this kind of L shape. Then place another slime block here, one underneath it, and one next to it, just like that. Then come around to this side, get yourself a coral fan, dead coral fan, place it here. Then get a detector rail, place it on top of this slime block next to the wall, and then place a minecart on top of that detector rail on top, just like that. And then lastly, get yourself a sticky piston and place it next to this redstone here, so it connects to the slime block just like that. Now when we turn this on, this will change its configuration slightly, but the TNT will dupe and fall down there. Now what I should say is that this TNT duper module, this is not my design, this is from Ilmango. I kind of swiped this from his cobble farm design, this part here, and the repeaters along here, but the rest of it is my doing. But yeah, I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to get a cool cobblestone generator in your world. We're on the final straight now, but before we move on, I noticed something I did slightly incorrectly here. So let's remove this here. Make sure that this rail is actually facing this way. Make sure it's facing here. So when the minecart is on top of it, it won't fall off because the wall here stops it falling this way and the slime block stops it on that side. Anyway, come round to the TNT and place a glass block on this side and then place a furnace on the front here. Then place 2 furnaces next to it here and here and another 2 furnaces on this side here and here. So 5 in total with the TNT in the center. Then come into each of your furnaces and make sure you have a stack of items in all of the furnaces. Next, come along to the front of your furnaces, place a temporary block here and then one underneath it. Then you can get rid of your temporary block. Then place blocks all the way here along here in front of your furnaces. Then get yourself your comparators and place them in front of the furnaces just like that. Then get yourself another temporary block here and then another block here. Get rid of your temporary block and then place another 5 blocks all the way along just like that. Then get some redstone dust and place it on all of these blocks just here. And then place a solid block next to the redstone dust so it's diagonal like that, and follow this all the way along, all the way here to match up with all of your redstone. Then get yourself some glass blocks and place them another one diagonally over and fill them all the way over too. And then get yourself another glass block and place it on top here so you leave a gap, and then follow all of this along just like this, and then the more solid blocks along this edge just here. Then get yourself your redstone dust and place it on all of these blocks in here, so on all those solid blocks in there like that, on top of these glass blocks here and these glass blocks here, and also on these solid blocks all the way along here. Then get yourself your pistons and face 5 of them up here, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then come underneath and place another 5 under these pistons just like this, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and that should be pretty much it. All that's left to do now is give this thing a test, so make sure you have your concrete powder inside your dropper and also your chest and whatnot, depending on how much you need. Then flip the lever on just like that, and we should see items coming out of here, and hopefully the TNT will dupe. There it is, and it should fall down. There we go. And then to activate it, just hold down right click on top of this block and you should see your concrete going all the way over, and if it's working, it's going down there. Yes, it looks like it is. So that is a job well done. Of course, then to turn it off, just come over here, flip the lever again, and then what you'll see is that the dropper stops. You may get the odd TNT coming out as the clock cycles round, but then eventually that will stop just like that, and yeah, it's all safe to carry on, and yeah, go and collect your concrete from the collection below. So there we have it, all things considered, not too bad, relatively straightforward for what you get out of it, a little bit more effort than we usually do here on this series, but I thought it was worth showing it. Now one thing I forgot to mention earlier, that this little circuit here is actually from Mazuma Games, and I'll put a link in the description to the video where he shows that off as a concept, and that was really useful. I use this for a few things now, so that is super useful. And so there we go, that is it. I hope you found it useful, and if you did, then please hit the like button, and if you're new, then feel free to subscribe, and if you've got any comments or suggestions, then get in that comment section. Alright my geeks, until next time, I will see you later.